Hello, good evening, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Port, and that's Goyle Company Limited, Ghana Revenue Authority, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and indeed Meridian Port Services, MPS. The show is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA. Our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all the transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show tonight. We shall be getting interactive with you, and so you have to send us your comments and messages ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line 0559019177, 0559019177. At appropriate time, when I pick signals from my production team, we shall activate our phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. Indeed, we are streaming live on our social media pages on Facebook. We are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Eye on Port Ghana. Just go there and then you'll be able to watch and follow the discussion tonight. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a very quick break. When we bounce back, we will continue with the show. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goyle has that sorted. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
You're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And Ghana, during the week, signed a strategic cooperation agreement with Denmark. Then Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, also with the World Maritime University, are collaborating on the WeCAPS project, plus the fact that WISTA International Executive Committee members paid courtesy calls, visits to the Ministries of Trade and Industry, and as well as transport. Let's take a look at these stories.
The governments of Ghana and Denmark have entered an agreement on maritime cooperation for 3 years with the two states, signing a memorandum of understanding. This marks the third phase of the Ghana-Denmark Strategic Sector Cooperation Project, which has existed for 6 years. The document, signed on Tuesday, May 31st, 2022 in Accra by representatives of the two states, is expected to enhance Ghana's maritime growth through safety of navigation on the Volta Lake and aiding Ghana's Green Ports agenda. In attendance was Ghana's Minister of Transport, Kweku Furesiamam, his deputy Alassane Tampuli, the acting chief director at the Ministry of Transport, Mabel Sego, the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Thomas Alonsi, Danish Ambassador Tom Norin, the Director General of the Danish Maritime Authority, Andres Nordset, and other representatives of both parties. The Director General of the Danish Maritime Authority, Andres Nordset, said Denmark is keen on helping Ghana improve navigation on the Volta Lake, among other sustainable maritime objectives.
Using traditional technology, it would take minimum 10, maybe even 20 years to map a such vast area. We are not talking just about a small lake with swans. It's really, really a very, very big area. And that's why we hope very much that we can have a strong cooperation and using new technology. And if we succeed, which we aim to do, Ghana and Denmark will be the first countries that can present new solutions, more effective, using digital tools that would promote safety of navigation, and that can be expanded to other countries as well.
The Minister of Transport expressed delight at the ensuing cooperation, hinting at the socio-economic benefits it would present.
So I'm happy that in the third phase of the agreement that we are entering into, as part of the program, the two countries are going to look how best we can come up with mapping and charting of the lake. Because like I was telling the ambassador this morning, that thankfully for us, the Korean government has stepped in trying to do the social aspect. We need to look at the commercial aspect by looking at the charting route, mapping, charting, and then blasting some of the lake. But like the second issue, that we cannot continue to wait. So whichever technology which is available and which can give us quick results is what we are looking for.
In a related development, a Danish delegation has paid a courtesy call on the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to affirm continued cooperation between the two parties. The Director General of the Danish Maritime Authority, Andres Nordset, revealed that his outfit is hoping to cooperate with GPHA for the Global Green Port Initiative that is intended to promote sustainable shipping.
It's very impressive what you mentioned, what you're doing already on handling, recycling and reception facilities. The thing to touch upon on air quality, I think this is really where it's very important that we work together, because nobody have really found the 100% solution. But we will chip in together with our Danish Environmental Protection Agency with the sniffers and share the experience we have, and then it can be tested here also in Ghana and see if how far can that bring us and you. So I look very much forward. I think that goes for all of us to look very much forward to the cooperation for the next 3 years.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguje, acknowledged the significance of such an initiative and affirmed the Port Authority's support to attain the environmental goals.
But of course, matters of environment, from experience, because most of the time the environment is not material for you to hold it. We seem to take it for granted. We take them for granted from time to time. But gradually, as we are experiencing the effects of ignoring challenges associated with environmental degradation, we are beginning to learn some lessons. But of course, naturally, the Western world is a step ahead of us in Africa and other parts of the third world. And that is why within cooperative arrangements like bilaterally, like we are having with you, and also at the international level, the IMO level, IAPH level and within our own sub-regions. That cooperation is what will help us to be able to learn from each other and then be able to at least take the necessary measures to improve on our environment.
He acknowledged the capacity building programs the human resource of the Port Authority has benefited from the cooperation between the two countries over the years.
I recall a number of capacity building projects we've done together, getting our personnel to train in Denmark, the pilots in particular. I mean, this quite critical segment of our staff as far as bringing in vessels in and out of the ports are concerned. And safety issues, I think it's been quite appreciative.
The DG of the Danish Maritime Authority on his part also acknowledged GPH's role in accommodating the Danish frigate operation Esbjerg in Ghana.
Without your help, it wouldn't have been such a smooth and effective operation, so thank you very much for that. And I think it sort of signals the strong cooperation that we have between Ghana and Denmark, but also between Ghana Port and Harbour Authority and the Danish authorities.
The European Commission and Expertise France have in recent years launched the Western and Central Africa Port Security WeCAPS project with the aim of strengthening the security and safety of port infrastructure. As such, the World Maritime University has been partnered to deliver on the legal framework relating to port security and disaster management.
All of the different technical and operational aspects of port security are of interest to us. Our main remit really is to get a deeper understanding on how lawmaking, policy making, rule making, regulations formulation are in relation to port security are done here in Ghana.
Earlier this week, officials from the university paid a working visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to obtain first-hand information on GPHA security systems, which will aid the task at hand.
We have our own security outfit, and we collaborate with the Ghana military that seconds, senior officers to head our security for us. Every 2 years, they second them and replace them. So we are working very closely, and also with the Navy, of course. The Navy is also supporting us. Of course, they have their crafts even in the port, in Tema and Takoradi to help us ensure sufficient patrols. But we have, as a port, we have our own security patrols as well. So we do it jointly with the Navy. And the Maritime Authority also recently has acquired some minimum capacity for patrol. But all will be done collaboratively with the port. And the police also have what they call a marine police wing, which is also supporting.
They were briefed by senior management of the authority on the strides taken by the authority to enhance security.
Security officer, those things were set up to ensure that Ghana is in compliance with the code. And then within that same framework, the U.S. Coast Guards also come and then do audit. They also provide training for some of our security men to ensure their readiness and then their knowledge and skill in enforcing security too.
And that ISPS, of course, going with the consonants of requirements, we do our regular checks. We do the declaration of security, which is a requirement. We do the exchange of information to know whatever the requirement of the vessels that are coming in.
The Executive Committee of the Women in Shipping and Trading Association, WISTA International, have paid a working visit to the Ministries of Transport and Trade and Industry as part of activities marking the association's 3-day mid-year ESCO meeting in Ghana. The courtesy call on the two government institutions was to appreciate the respective ministries for the continued support to the activities of its local chapter, WISTA Ghana, and to have further deliberations on promoting the advancement of women in Ghana's maritime industry. According to WISTA boss Despina Panayotio Theodosio, the association has partnered with the International Maritime Organization IMO and member states to build capacity of women through scholarships that provide soft skills for women career enhancements across the maritime value chain.
We believe that with diversity we can help promote the goals, the general goals of our industry, which pertain to sustainability, to advancement. It's a very quickly changing industry, And we believe that diversity in general, and more specifically the participation of women, is a key factor to getting it right and having a better future for maritime.
Deputy Minister for Transport Hassan Tampuli applauded the leadership of WISTA International for steering the growth of the global association through an inclusive approach and fair representation from the various subsectors of the maritime industry.
The minister is a champion of women empowerment, all right? And so all of us have become, champions of women empowerment. And we are happy to see women grow, especially in the maritime domain. And here in Ghana, the director of ports in Tema is a woman. And we believe that, she's opened the way for many more women to be able to grow.
At the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the meeting focused on opportunities and gender-specific policies for women-owned enterprises and women in trade. A Deputy Sector Minister, Nana Ama-Dokuya Esieme-Jay, pledged to collaborate with WISTA in their mutual quest to build the competence of women to close existing leadership gaps in the trade sector by empowering women to push for whatever they seek to achieve.
Now I think the ordinary woman is becoming a lot more confident and more discerning, so we are able to take certain decisions for ourselves, and we are able to push further to achieve what we want to achieve. I was glad to hear in your deliberations that you sometimes organize training sessions. And quite seriously, I think this is very vital.
All right, so those were some happenings in the port and shipping industry in the country in the course of the week. We are now going globally to see what's happening in that space.
Maersk is claiming China's first coastal relay of international cargo by a foreign ocean carrier, marking a milestone in China's opening of its cabotage market to foreign carriers. Maersk said the relay involved 27 containers from Vancouver, Canada, which were loaded onto the container vessel MARITME for transshipment from Shanghai's Yangshan terminal to Tianjin. In China, international cargo relay shipments between two Chinese ports have historically been considered cabotage and therefore prohibited to foreign carriers. Carriers instead use Busan, Singapore, and other international ports for transshipment. The shipping industry is calling for the safe passage of merchant vessels in the Persian Gulf following the seizure of two Greek-flagged oil tankers by Iran last week. The two tankers were seized by Iranian forces in the Persian Gulf last Friday after Iran warned of punitive action in response to the confiscation of the Iranian oil cargo by the United States from the Iranian-flagged tanker MT Pegasus held off the Greek coast a day earlier. Currently, nearly 50 seafarers are being held on board the two tankers. The International Chamber of Shipping and the European Community Ship Owners Association issued a joint statement on Wednesday calling for a quick and diplomatic resolution in order for the vessels and crew to be released. The Commissioner of the United States Federal Marine Commission, Rebecca Dye, on Tuesday released a long-awaited final report from a fact-finding investigation into the effects of COVID-19 on the ocean shipping supply chain, formerly known as Fact-Finding 29. The Federal Maritime Commission ordered Fact-Finding 29 back in March 2020 to investigate COVID-19 induced congestion and bottlenecks at the ports and other ports in the supply chain that posed a serious risk to the U.S. economy. The investigation involved hundreds of supply chain stakeholders, including U.S. importers, exporters, trackers, and others participating through virtual meetings, phone conversations, emails, and presentations to various groups. Most notably, throughout the course of the investigation, American importers and exporters continued to highlight two recurring pandemic-related concerns: the high cost of shipping cargo and excessive demurrage and detention charges.
All right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry on the international stage. We are now zooming into our discussion proper tonight, and tonight we're taking a look at how we can measure the time we spend in clearing goods at the ports. Now, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has announced that this month, in June, they're going to begin a study that will tell them how the time that we spend in clearing goods at the ports, that if you're an importer and you import your goods, how long does it take you to clear the goods from the port? Now, I want to find out what has necessitated this particular quest by the Customs Division to measure the time we spend in clearing goods. Now, we are told that in countries such as Uganda and Kenya, as well as the Gambia, it takes up to 6 hours for you to clear your goods from the ports. That's when you import your goods. And that's after you've gone through the pre-arrival documentation and all that. You've worked all those ones out. And so we will be seeing our situation, what is going to happen in Ghana after the Customs Division come out with their findings of this particular study that they're going to commence in this month of June. And so we are privileged to have in the studios with us tonight Madam Dinah Ayoko Agbenyega, who is the Principal Revenue Officer with the Policy and Programs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division. She's here in the studios, and we're going to be having the discussions there tonight. Good evening, Madam, and welcome.
Thank you, and good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers at home. I bring you compliments from the Commissioner General, from the Commissioner of Customs Division, and from the project owner of the time release study in the name of Mr. Yaobafo Asari.
Okay.
He's the Deputy Commissioner in charge of the project.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We are happy to have you. And let me say Happy New Year, because it's your first time on this show tonight, this year. And I think it's your first time ever on Iron Port.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so Happy New Year is in order.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you.
My pleasure.
So tell us, what really prompted the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority to want to conduct this, what do we call a study, to measure the time we spend in clearing goods at the ports?
Well, the Ghana Revenue Authority has initiated a lot of transformational initiatives. And as part of our strategic goals, we are supposed to enhance administrative efficiency. Also, Ghana as a country acceded to the Trade Facilitation Agreement in 2017.
Right.
And we also acceded to the revised Kyoto Convention in 2020. All these are documents that we have acceded to and requires us to simplify our processes, harmonize our processes, and to also improve upon the clearance and save the trader some costs. So having all this in place, we are required to make sure that we are improving on our processes.
Now, you mentioned the Kyoto Protocol as a convention. Can you tell us what it is about?
So the revised Kyoto Convention is basically about enhancing our processes, simplification and harmonization, to make sure that things are done in a predictable manner, predictability. So you can, the trader should be able to predict that when I put in my declaration on this day, this is in a few hours, I'll get it's classified. If there are issues, I could appeal. So those are things that are required in the revised Q. There are actually quite a number of measures that we are supposed to take.
Right.
And we are in the process of achieving that.
Do you know some of the measures one is supposed to take?
So that's like pre-arrival processing.
Okay.
So we are supposed to also have publication, transparency. We should be transparent with our clients. We don't have to, it shouldn't be hideous. By the time the importer goes on the web, you should have information on the internet to be able to take advantage of that.
So basically what you're saying is that you are drumming home the need, what has always been said, that if you're an importer, and you are importing your goods into the country, once the goods are on the way, you can even begin the process to clear them.
Exactly so. So as soon as you get your documentation, your bill of lading or your airway bill, you have your invoices. And in fact, there are some products that require licenses and permits. So you should be able to take advantage of single window to do those processes. So those are things that are required to we are supposed to put in place in our systems to ensure that the trader will be able to take advantage of that.
Right. Has this study begun in earnest?
Because
we're told it's going to start in this month.
I would say yes, because undertaking the study involves quite a number of processes, so a number of activities.
Yeah.
And we have been able to achieve some of those activities since September last year. And the most recent one was when we engaged some of our stakeholders. That was last month on the 12th of May. So I would say yes, we have started the study. We are actually waiting for the arrival of our experts from the World Customs Organization. So I would say we have started in earnest.
So tell me, what are some of the tools you are employing, to carry out this study? You are meeting the stakeholders. Are you eliciting their views at some of these engagements? That would, form the basis for your findings.
So the most important thing that we want to achieve with our stakeholders is to have their buy-in, because customs is not only the government agency involved in the clearance processes. So there are a lot of stakeholders involved, like just to mention a few, Ghana Standard Authority, Food and Drugs, and even the customs house agents. Those are all people who are involved in the clearing business and in the for an importer to be able to take delivery of the cargo. Because it's not everybody that is a self-declarant. Some have to engage the services of an agent. So we need their buy-in. We need them to collaborate with us so that at the end of the day, when we have some recommendations, we'll be able to make sure that we achieve those things together.
Right. I just mentioned the fact that we're told that in Uganda, in Kenya, and even the Gambia, it takes like 6 hours for one to be able to clear the goods from the ports. Perhaps that's after they have worked out their pre-arrival documentations. Now, we've also had guests in this studio, that's freight forwarders, who have attested to the fact that with the coming into being of the integrated customs management system, that's the ICOMS, they're able to clear their goods sometimes 5 hours, 6 hours. And so it's kind of like we are measuring with these countries that I mentioned. With this, are you not able to have a fair idea as to how long it will take if we want to be able to start and finish clearing your goods from the ports?
Well, custom is actually in the position to be able to give you an estimate of the time it takes to clear goods. However, the trade facilitation agreement we acceded to, we signed to, requires in Article 7.6.1 that we are to publish time of release, average time of release, consistently, and after we improve upon it, and then we publish again. The recommended tool, which is approved across the world, and in fact, amongst custom administration, is WCO TRS2. That is why we want to be able to use this tool to undertake the study and then be able to publish it. We can actually give, but it's not an empirical evidence, because it's more of, for example, we can take the timestamps in the system. We can take the times, but there are other processes which happen, which are also not in the system, which we need to take cognizance of. So by employing the experts, we'll be able to do it more professionally and such that it is recognized internationally, and then we can publish like the Uganda and the Kenya. For the Kenyans, they've done it a number of times. They've done it severally. So in fact, they've improved from a certain level to that 6 hours. Unfortunately for us, we were not able to conduct any time release study before the launch of the ICOMS. And now we have gotten to a stage where we need to publish our time release study, publish our average time, and then improve upon it and keep improving till we get to the most efficient level.
Right. Okay, so you just made mention of the fact that you are still expecting what do you call it, your expert from the World Customs Organization to arrive. I want to find out from you, how long are you expecting this particular study to last? How long should we be waiting? How soon should we expect your findings?
So, as I mentioned, it's actually a number of activities. So we are hoping that within 6 months upon their arrival, we should complete and be able to publish and give the recommendations. So if we are able to start by end of June, hopefully by the end of December, January, early January next year, we should have completed with the study.
Okay. All right. So you made mention of the fact also that you have met some of the stakeholders and all that. And we just want to find out from you, when you meet them, what are some of the issues they raise?
Well, I think I also mentioned earlier that some of them are also interested in activities that do not happen in the system. For example, you might bring a particular product which requires the analysis from the lab.
Yes.
And the time they will take the sample and the conducting of the tests doesn't happen in the system. But when the result is in, they will have to put in their result in the system, whether the product is approved or not. So you only see approved. But the time it took to do some of those processes, there is no time stamp involved. So they were interested in how we were going to take care of such activities, and we noted that adequately. Also, they wanted us to involve all stakeholders, because I think we had omitted one or two.
Right.
So they were able to share some of those things with us. And I think it's quite encouraging. Their collaboration during the pre-engagement was very encouraging.
So would you say you have rounded up your consultations with the stakeholders, or you still have some of them to attend to engage?
Actually, we are going to carry them along through the process, so that at the end of the day, it's going to be something that we all own. The result is something we are going to own, because it's not only the custom processes that we are taking time sample. It also includes the stakeholders involved in the processes. So it's more of a holistic study that we are doing.
What's your coverage area?
So we intend to...
In research proper, you say your sample size.
So we are looking at Tema collection, which is the biggest volume of our imports. And then we are also looking at the KIA collection, which is covering the air side.
Right.
And then we are looking at the PAGA collection, which is which is going to cover the transit cargo. And then we are looking at a flower collection, which is going to cover the small businesses and the small scale traders. So we are actually hoping for the best in terms of donor funding and support.
All right. So far, where's the support coming from? Because you seem to have kickstarted already. Like you said, you've met stakeholders and all that, and you are going to go all out this month of June, as announced by Deputy Commissioner Sari. Where is the funding for this project coming from?
Well, fortunately, we've been able to source funding from the USAID and the GIZ. And also we have commitment from the World Customs Organization to give us technical support. Right. So with all these bodies on board, I believe we are going to have a successful study.
All right. So I know with this kind of project, you would have some focus on key stakeholders that you intend to engage, in order that you can come out perhaps with accurate, somewhat findings. Can you tell us some of these, apart from those that you mentioned, the FDA, the Standards Authority, the freight forwarders and all that? I'm sure you still have some other stakeholders that you would want to engage in the line of duty as far as this project is concerned, this study is concerned.
Yes, so we have Ministry of Finance on board. We also intend to engage the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because these are bodies that grant exemptions. And also Ministry of Food and Agriculture. We also are engaging the ground analysts.
Okay.
That's the GPHA, MPAs, as well as the, to mention airports, Swissports, Avians, Menzies. So we intend to cover as much as we can.
All right, so let's take a look at the legal basis for this particular study that you're conducting. Do we have any legal basis backing it?
Yes, so I'd say yes, because we've acceded to the TFA, that's the Trade Facilitation Agreement of the WTO, which was in 2017. And we are obliged to carry out some of the measures. And one of the measures that we are required is to publish and publish the average release of time and improve upon it consistently, which is Article 7.6.1. So, and we are supposed to actually deliver on some of them after we have acceded to it. We were given some window period.
Okay.
And now we are at that point where we want to make sure that we do that.
All right, so the Ghana signed the World Trade Organization Agreement in 2017 and set out measures in facilitating trade at the ports in categories A, B, and C. Can you walk us through these categories?
Okay, so the Trade Facilitation Agreement is actually in 2 sections. Section 1 is more about the technical aspects related to the agreement. And the section 2 is more of the categories which you have just inquired on. So these categories were given to the developing countries and the least developed countries to take advantage of.
Right.
So, for example, when we started, we have more than 20 measures, more than 24 measures we are supposed to oblige to. For the developed countries, when the agreement came into being, they had all the measures deployed.
Okay.
They were ready. But for the developing countries, we were given the option that you needed to let us know the ones you are ready to deploy. So if you are ready to deploy 6, you let them, these are your category A. The category A are the ones that you were ready with. So Ghana as stated, we were ready with 6 measures. And then the category B are the ones that you require some window period to be able to, you need some time, but you are partially doing it. For example, pre-arrival processing, we're already doing it, but we needed some window period to improve upon that system because we didn't have the integrated custom management system in place, which gave us that opportunity to do all of that. And then measures like the separation of release from payment of duties. Now we have it in the form of release prior to BOE. So you can actually apply and take your cargo whilst you, if it's very urgent, and then you later, on a later date, pay for the duties. So we have the release prior to BOE. So those things were available, but they were not properly operationalized in the system. But so those ones were category B. And then the category C are those that you needed some funding, some technical expertise to be able to deploy. For example, the publication of the time release study, which we are now deploying. So in earnest, there are a lot of those were we needed to set out those distinctions that in this window period we will be able to do that. So that is in a nutshell what the category A and the B and C is. But in actual fact, we've almost deployed most of the measures. It's just left with quite a few of them for us to deploy.
I just wanted to throw more light on the trade facilitation agreement of the WTO. What basically does it comprise? What is it about?
So, in a nutshell, the trade facilitation agreement is basically on how we are going to eradicate the red tapes.
Because now we have AFTA. So when you mention trade facilitation agreement, people want to go straight to AFTA. Okay. But I know this is a different thing completely from AFTA.
AFTA is African Free Continental Trade Agreement. So those ones are TFAs.
Yes.
Like those are FTAs. Those are free trade agreements. And the TFA is trade facilitation agreement. They are two different things. So the free trade agreement is more about taking advantage of bilateral agreements such that I benefit from your import and then you also benefit from my exports. So you import to me, you don't pay tariff, you don't pay duties. I export to you and then I also enjoy a similar kind of privilege. When it comes to the trade facilitation agreement, it's in a nutshell about facilitation. How are we going to take away the non-tariff barriers? Because it is estimated that non-tariff barriers are about 214% of trade costs, which is actually alarming because if a particular product is supposed to cost 10 cedis. That means if a non-tariff cost is 214%, then it goes to 30 cedis. So those non-tariff barriers are known as red tapes. And those are the ones that we are intending to eliminate and make sure that the traders and importers and everybody as a whole, consumers, benefit from that. So that we have, how do I say it? Benefit of trading, like we save more on trading. So that's basically about it.
Have you taken time to identify what some of these red tapes are, or what some of these non-tariff barriers are that traders encounter, which, like you rightly mentioned, increases the cost of doing business?
Yes, it's actually a wide range. I would say it's a wide range. It can be something as simple as a typographical error. And it can be not engaging the professional custom house agent.
Yes.
Because if you don't engage the right people to give you advice, you end up spending more. And sometimes it's also misinformation. If you don't give the right information, you get queries on your document. And if you don't, if you have also falsified your documents, and at the end of the time where there has to be an inspection, you have described something wrongly, it could also be queried. And those are, and sometimes there's ignorance. You can actually take advantage of pre-arrival processing, but it's like people don't know. And sometimes even when they know, they want to be sure that the goods have arrived at the port before they start the process, because they want to be sure. As a Ghanaian, it's like most Ghanaians, we want to be sure before we take in some steps.
Right. So I know this has been on the radar for a very long time, and day in, day out, customs officials have always hammered and drummed home the need for agents and importers to begin the process of clearing their goods even before the goods arrive, so that would avoid issues of demurrage and other charges at the port and all that. And I know that perhaps you would want to take time at a certain point to educate and sensitize these people. Is this something that you are considering, so that we can actually reduce the time we spend in trying to clear our goods from the ports? Like you rightly said, these are some of the red tapes you mentioned. Sometimes some of them they give wrong information, perhaps not for by virtue of their own making, but because they are ignorant. They don't have the right information. Where should they go to? Who should speak to them? And all that. And so I think that maybe there's need for customs to engage these people once more, or on a continuous basis.
Yes, it's actually a very dicey. It's actually very dicey, because are we engaging the importers? Because we can only engage the importers through this kind of forums, when we have the opportunity to talk to them through this kind of
as we are doing
on media. But most of the time at the port is the custom house agents who stands in for some importers. So I think it has to be a holistic approach, where we continue to tell the agents, educate your clients. And then the importers should also do some, of course, like
due diligence and all
that.
Because I know you
custom offices are public offices. You can walk into any custom office and inquire if you are not sure. There are people who come to my office on a regular basis to inquire. You can walk into any custom office, and I'm sure even when you go to the GRA head office and you need information, they'll give it to you. Our doors are open, and we'll continue to try to do our best through the media. Maybe we have to do more jingles and just let the public know that you can take advantage of pre-arrival process, especially when you need licenses, certificates, and permits. Most of the time, people wait, and then when the goods arrive at the ports, before they are processing in fact, they don't know that they require a permit. And at that point, it's a restricted commodity. It cannot be allowed to go, even though you might have paid the duties. You need that permit to be able to take in that consignment. Unfortunately, you haven't done the processing. So that might delay. So if they know, maybe it will to save everybody some costs.
I know many a time you have always also drummed home the need for importers to engage the right people. I mean, you go and then you see somebody sitting under a tree, and you think that this the fellow claims to be a freight forwarder or a clearing agent, and then bam, you hand your documents over to the person, pay monies, and eventually it turns out that the fellow perhaps is not what do we call it? Accredited or approved, a certified freight forwarder or clearing agent, and so you find yourself wanting. Sometimes I think that these are some of the issues that we need to actually highlight. And apart from perhaps making announcements and engaging these people one-on-one, do you have dedicated perhaps social media handles, websites that people who are looking for accredited or certified freight forwarders can go and then perhaps find a list there from the Ghana Revenue Authority, so that they will be able to know that, okay, these are genuine members the freight forwarding fraternity that we are dealing with?
Yeah, I think that's what we intend to publish that anytime soon. But currently, any importer, any individual can go on to the external.unipassghana.com, and there's a lot of information there, including our laws, including some of the procedures that you need to do, the customs classification and tariff manual is also on board. So once you log into external.unipassghana.com, there's a lot of information on that website. It's the same website that the custom house agents will log in and do their processes. However, without a login, there is a lot of information there.
Right.
So when you go to that website, you see a lot of stuff, and you see login. You don't necessarily need to log in, but you, even on the far left side of that website, you see some manuals. You can actually click any of those manuals, and then you read about the processes. And in fact, you can actually track your consignment on that website.
Right.
There's a lot of things that can be done.
You can track your consignment even as it's on the way coming?
Yes.
Okay.
You can track, you can use, if you have an airway bill, or there's a cargo tracking space you can click on, and then you can actually track.
Wow.
So there's a lot of information available, but like you said, we have to do some more education.
Absolutely.
And we have to do publication so that the custom house agents who are accredited will be duly engaged often. Because most of the time, when you engage the wrong agent, sometimes they even defraud them, and it becomes a whole lot of issues.
Right. Okay, so I just want to find out from you. You mentioned some of the red tapes. What I wanted to find out was what some of the challenges are that you have identified as a division that inhibits the smooth clearance of cargo from the ports.
So, like I mentioned, when you give misinformation, I don't know if that's...
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so for example, if you are... it could even be a typo. Like you want to type card or code, and then you use card. But the HS you have put in is HS for code. Definitely you will get a query, and that would actually delay the process.
All right, so with this particular study, what will happen to the findings after you are done?
Interesting. The findings, we are hoping
because
that...
Ghana, we're told that when you carry out, so the enthusiasm is there from the start. You run with it, you go, you get the results, and when you come, you pack the results somewhere, it gathers dust. We just want to find out from you what you'll be doing with it, the findings of this particular, from this particular study.
So I would say by the grace of God, the findings will be implemented, and we'll be able to eliminate some red tapes. We'll be able to improve on the processes, and we'll be able to reduce the time of clearance and save some costs to the traders and also to the consumers. So I think it's actually a general notion that when you do your thesis, what do you do with the recommendations? It's just packed somewhere. But we are hoping that by the grace of God, this will not be the story for this study, but we'll be able to improve upon the processes, and then we'll be able to take in some, do some more improvements, and then we can do another study and say that, within 2 hours, you can actually clear your goods at the airport if you have completed all the pre-arrival processes that is needed. And then we can confidently say within 4 hours, within a day, you can confidently take your cargo at the seaport if you have completed all your pre-arrival processes.
All right, so we'll find out from you the level of cooperation you expect from other stakeholders or agencies within the clearance chain in the ports.
Yes,
as you roll out this particular study.
We are expecting a very positive collaboration. Like you mentioned earlier, we had a pre-engagement with them, and their cooperation was very positive. So we hope to keep up that pace, and we hope to keep up that collaboration so that we can have a successful outcome
of this particular study that you are conducting beginning this month of June. You had Madam Dinah Ayoko Gwenyega. She is a Principal Revenue Officer with the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. In fact, she is with the Policy and Programs Division. of the GRA, and so we're discussing the measurement of the time we spend in the clearance of cargo at our ports. And like I indicated in my intro, the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division is beginning a study this month to measure the time we spend in clearing goods from our ports in this country, and that's what we're discussing tonight. We're going for a quick break. When we bounce back, we'll continue the discussion. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, you're welcome back. This is Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Indeed, we are discussing how to measure the time we spend in clearing our goods from the ports, and the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority will begin a study this month to ascertain that, and we can't wait for them to come in with their findings, and we'll see. Now, we're going into the inbox straight away. Remember, you can send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559 019 177. 0559 019 177. Now, Hima in Tema, good evening. She sends this one. She says, great discussion. Could you ask Madam Dinah to take the bit about release prior to BOE again and the conditions in which it can be used?
All right. Thank you very much, Hoima. So the release prior to BOE is actually being implemented under the Article 7.3 of the TFA, which is separation of the release from the payment of taxes. So it's more like a pre-entry or permit. So they are very much familiar with pre-entry or permit if you are a regular importer. So pre-entry is when you can take your perishable goods upon arrival. And then the permit is when you have incomplete documentation. So in that light, we have introduced the release prior to BOE. So you can, it's a basic documentation requirement which your agent can put in for you. If your goods are required very urgently and you haven't completed the processes. So for example, the goods have even not been gated in. The cargo have arrived, but we need the manifest to be, the goods to be discharged, and then the goods to be gated in before you can put in your BOE and do the manifest matching. Maybe I'm speaking too much of.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, we need those. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So in that light, the thing is, so for example, let me just give an example. You need to take something that is needed at the mine. Some people are probably trapped underground,
right?
And the goods are coming tonight, but you couldn't process the BOE or anything. You can just put in the release prior to BOE, and the only condition that is required is more of the deposit.
Right.
So you do it's 200% deposit, or the deposit as might be determined by the commissioner. So when you put in that deposit, then you can take in your cargo.
All right.
So it's that basic.
Okay.
It's that basic.
All right. We'll still go into the inbox, but let me announce at this juncture that I've been cleared by the production team to announce that the phone lines are activated, and the number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. Now you have something coming from a message coming from Samson Asaki Wingobit, Executive Secretary, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. He says, "Good evening, Ken, and your August guest, the Principal Revenue Officer. I am following her conversation, but I didn't see anywhere the Customs Division intended to meet with leadership of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana and GUTA, because we serve as the mouthpiece of businesses, the business community. When she mentioned stakeholders, we were left out. Find out from her if she knows we are one of the key stakeholders." Nunya should have been answering this question, but she's in the studio. She's not on set, so she can't answer. Nunya, so you let Dinah take that and let's see. Samson is waiting for his response, because you guys seem to have left them out.
So the Importers and Exporters Association, I think we have been informed. You remember I mentioned that we were notified that we had left out some stakeholders during the pre-engagement, and we have noted that, and we are going to, when we're going to have the kickoff workshop, they will duly be invited.
Right.
So we have already observed that omission, and we are going to take care of it.
All right, Samson,
so they are not left out.
You've heard Diana. She says you guys have not been left out, and so they'll be reaching out to you. So rest assured, and no qualms. I understand we have Felix from Dansuman on the phone lines. Let's go on to the phone lines and welcome him. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, hi. I've been following your discussion, and I want to make a quick inquiry.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear that it's compulsory by every trader in Ghana to use an agent in clearing the goods from the port, or the information is available to every citizen or every trader or every importer to go through a standard procedure in clearing the goods at the port? Is it always compulsory to find agents or to use agents without us being able to do that by ourselves?
All right, thank you very much indeed. But just straightforward, from the layman's perspective, before Dinah comes in, I would say that it's compulsory, because if we allow everybody to go to the port to clear the goods, you can imagine the number of people that will through the port every day. Millions of people will be in the port to clear their cargoes. And so that's why the Customs Division, per law or by law, have certified certain people who are clearing, Customs House agents to lead the charge in your quest to clear your goods from the port. But I'll leave it to you, Dinah, to respond to it.
Thank you, Kennedy. So you are right. However, if you want to be a self-declarant, you have the opportunity to do so. However, there are criteria for being a self-declarant. So you must have a custom proficiency certification. You should have a certain volume of imports and exports. And then you should have the requisite staff who will be able to manage your transactions. In fact, in one of the measures, I think Article 10, at the category C. Let me just see. So it's use of custom brokers. So it's actually one of the measures that are supposed to be put in place, that we are not supposed to make use of custom brokers mandatory. However, the society in which we find ourselves, we want to be able to make sure that government revenue is protected and it's not lost. Because if we open, for example, release prior to BOE to every importer and we don't even know your address, and you can change your address consistently, at the end of the day, government begins to lose revenue. So we need to put in certain mechanisms before we can open up those kind of windows. But it is actually there, and we are on the way. But we are putting in we are preparing the grounds before we open up those kind of windows, so that we don't lose revenue at the end of the day.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm told we have Moses all the way from Tamale calling into the show. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, welcome to the show, and please flow.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question concerning cars. In Tamale here, we have cars that are being perceived as Togo cars, whereby each and every day police people hunt people to take monies from them.
Come again, you have cars that are referred to as Togo cars?
Yes.
Those are the cars that have the Togo registration?
Not the Togo registration. Sometimes they use DVs and others.
Okay.
They have number plates sometimes.
But they are bought from Togo?
Yeah, they say they are Togo cars.
Okay.
And sometimes you go to we want to know if there's a way you could check the duty of a car.
Yeah, it's quite simple. Off the top of my head, I think that you can go to external.unipassghana.com and you would see the used car duty calculator. You click on that, it will show you what to do. You follow the prompts, and it's very easy to get the duty of any car that you are importing.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Maybe, is there anything you want to add with respect to the Togo cars?
Yeah, so once you want to find an idea, that's it. You can just go and check.
Right.
But I don't know whether it means that if he wants to confirm whether duties have been paid on the car, I'm not quite clear.
He didn't ask, but I think that it will be very important because this is a very, very huge phenomenon in this country. Even in Accra, we have these Togo cars here, that people use, and then sometimes they are accosted and apprehended. I know customs liaises with the police and they arrest on these people because, I think that they don't pay, even though they are supposed to pay. Exactly.
Yes.
So if you want to throw more light on it, fine. If you don't want, we'll just proceed because there are more messages we need to take. Yes. So this one says, great discussion, EOP. Please ask the guest to throw more light on the WTO trade facilitation agreement. I think you mentioned it, but if you just rehash it and then we proceed, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, so the trade facilitation agreement is more on how we are going to eradicate and eliminate the red tapes, the non-tariff barriers, to make sure that we are reducing the cost and time of trading, because it is estimated that the non-tariff barriers are over 200%.
Yes.
And when we are able to eliminate those tariff barriers, we tend to save more and we tend to invest more into our businesses. So the World Trade Organization, the countries which are members have acceded to such an agreement that we must consciously make efforts to reduce the non-tariff barriers.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's go to Kumasi and welcome Enchi onto the show. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Is the question that the last guy asked.
Yes.
I think he wanted to ask that there's a car which has been registered, but police will stop them and say, the car is uncustomized, but he is able to get registered number on the car.
Okay. All right. So what he's saying is
is there any way that if your car is registered and the police are saying it is uncustomized, is it any way you yourself, me myself, can check and see whether it's true or not?
All right. He's talking about uncustomed vehicles. When the police apprehend, drivers on the streets, they tell them the vehicle is not customed, and that kind of thing. And so they want to find out from you, is there a way they can check once the police, the car is registered already, but the police say it's unregistered, it's uncustomed. And so once they apprehend them, is there a way of checking whether indeed their cars are uncustomed?
So first,
what we know in this country is that you cannot register your car without, paying
Yes.
the requisite duties and customize and getting it customed, so to speak.
Yes, so I think we have fake registration. So that's why probably they will still arrest such vehicles, because we have the registered vehicles which are fake numbers. So what I would say is that before you even purchase your car, you have to request for the custom documents. So even if the car is already registered, when you are buying it, request for the custom documents. Usually there will be a bill of entry on it. With that bill of entry, you can walk into any customs office and confirm if it's genuine. We have, if it's in Kumasi, we have the Kumasi collection there. If it's in Tamale, you can go to the Tamale offices and check. So you should request for the bill of entry. And then when you are buying a car, you are sure that when the police even accost you, then you can say, this is my bill of entry. You can confirm with any customs office.
All right, great. This one says, good evening, Ken. Great discussion and kudos to Madam Diana. I am learning a lot. This one is from Pastor Chris. Do you know any Pastor Chris? Not Pastor Chris, the popular Chris, I'm sure there's a Pastor Chris from Ghana. This one says, this is a good initiative from Customs. Kudos to the Commissioner and his team. Is from Flip in Kaswa. This one says, please find out from Madam Diana how this new project will ultimately improve government's revenue mobilization drive. It's from Asian in Takwa.
Okay. So again, I'd like to say that the project is also to improve our administrative efficiency as an organization, as GRA.
Yeah.
So when our efficiency is improved, that means we are going to use less to get more. That's the first one.
Yeah.
And then in line with the TFA, it's about simplification, harmonization, and also modernization. When your processes are simple and transparent, more investors will want to come in. We have more drive for investment, and then we can always have more taxes because when the volumes are increased, then we have more turnover. I don't know if that would answer him.
Right. All right, so we're going for more messages, and this one says, okay, before I go into the inbox again, let's pick Eddie. I understand we have Eddie on the line. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm calling from Kofrodia, actually.
Kofrodia, great. Thank you very much.
Somebody made a call, and he was talking about Togo cars.
Yeah.
There is this misconception. People create the impression that all the vehicles that come from Togo are uncustomed.
Right.
Yeah, there are vehicles that come from Togo, but they are able to pay the duty at the checkpoint. You go to or the borders. You go to Aflawa, you can pay your duty all along to Paga. Yeah,
Right.
so when they bring vehicles from Togo, they don't necessarily mean that duty has not been paid.
Right.
And so the correct terminology is uncustomed and not just Togo. We also have other vehicles that come from Togo on this TVI thing that are supposed to be returned after 90 days. But some people abuse it. But we shouldn't just make a general statement that, because the car comes from Togo, and there must necessarily be a problem with it. That's the clarification I wanted to make.
Eddie, respectfully, are you a customs officer?
Yes.
Oh, great. I suspected so. All right. Thank you very much indeed. We are grateful. We are grateful for your call and enlightenment. This one says, which areas are they going to cover in the study and how long is it going to take? This one is coming from Benedict in Ashaiman.
Yeah, so it's going to cover from arrival of the goods up to the exit of the goods and all the processes involved to make sure that the goods are cleared out of customs charge will be studied. And the scope I mentioned earlier will include Tema collection, Aflao collection, and then Paga, as well as the airports.
Yes.
And we are going to take care of imports and export and transit.
Right. Okay, so this one says, Good evening, Ken and your guest. I am watching your show all the way from Wali Wali in the Northeast region. I am Mohammed. I just want to find out from your guest if all this while the Customs Division did not have know the time that we spent in clearing our goods from the ports. Well, I think Mohammed is trying to...
Yeah, so I think you asked that question even earlier.
Yes.
And I said, well, we are in the position to tell. However, we want to use the world acclaimed tool, which is the WCO TRS tool, to be able to embark on this study.
WCO or WTO?
WCO. So WTO
TRS
recommends...
too.
Yes.
Okay.
WTO in the TFA recommends that the members should use the WCO TRS tool.
What is TRS 2?
That's the time release study tool.
Time release study. Yes. Okay.
So it's a time release study tool, which it's recognized across the world that this is
okay.
It's more empirical, and we can use other methods to measure the time.
Right.
But we want to use that tool, and then we want to be able to publish it and consistently improve upon it.
All right, let's go into the phone line. Stephen is calling us from Tema. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. And I want to, my question or my contribution will be a bit delicate.
Can you speak up a bit, sir?
Please, I said my contribution will be, or my question will be a bit delicate issue, but I will still have to ask. And I hope my sister doesn't take offense of it.
Right. Please flow.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, many a times we've been hearing at the port upon all the processes you go through before you're able to clear your goods. And we are making sure we are able to gather all our taxes or our revenues. There are still people who get ways or who get avenues to dodge taxes, and in turn it affects the country. Again, imagining the kind of or the number of goods we've been importing and exporting.
Steve, respectfully, can you come again? We didn't seem to get what you were saying. Can you
all right.
speak up a bit?
I said many a times.
Yeah.
We've been hearing that upon all the processes that people have to go through, so that at the end of the day, the custom office doesn't lose taxes, or Ghana as a whole doesn't lose its taxes. There are still some people who are avenues, who have that privilege to dodge taxes, passing through unlawful ways, and sometimes I think those avenues are created by my sister and their people, because without them, I don't think people will be getting the avenues, and that's why I'm saying it will be a bit delicate, but you shouldn't take offense of it. I think.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I think you got what the import of
Thank you very much, Steve. So I think you're talking about smuggling or connivance to be able to evade taxes. Yeah, is that? I think that's what he was talking about. So, Steve, I think it's actually not out of place for people to want to avoid or evade taxes. However, it is our duties to always fish out such. And when those are fished out, we will always recover the taxes, and even with penalties. So it happens regularly. That's why we have post-clearance audits. We have the risk management in place. Some people can slip in when we will not recover the taxes at the point of collection. However, there are systems in place which we can always recover. We can go way back up to 5 years because we have the post-clearance audits in place now. And it's also part of the system. We have the risk management in place. And when all those things are deployed adequately, even when you have evaded or you have avoided the taxes.
I know post-clearance audit 6 years down the line, you can still go.
Yes, so we can actually come back for our taxes. And in fact, we do it all the time.
Right. And when you go, you actually get the monies?
Yes.
Wow. Do they pay with interest?
In fact, the interesting thing is that sometimes, even if you don't give them with interest, because of exchange rates, because of
they'll pay higher
exchange rates,
than they would have paid if they had actually done the right thing.
So sometimes you would have. I actually do some myself. Sometimes we have the opportunity to help with some of those things. When the person is paying, the person would have wished he had paid at the time.
Yes.
Because at the time you are paying, the exchange rate has gone higher. There might be new introduction of taxes.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, instead of paying, at the time maybe there was no disinfection levy, but now there's a disinfection levy and you didn't declare.
Yeah.
Now you have to pay with all that. If the commissioner decides to impose a 300% taxes, do so. But if you sometimes it's waived. It all depends. It all depends on the issue.
All right. I'm told we have Philip from Dansoman on the lines. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, hi. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I want to check. I called earlier on, but I wanted a quick one. It's all good. We all support, as good citizens, we support that the government is able to be helped in terms of gathering all the necessary revenue that is duly deserved of government. But what is the institution making to protect the traders, that we would not be overcharged in terms of the procedures we go through in clearing our goods? Because it's like, okay, they are all after going after monies belonging to government, duly deserved. But you see, there are lots of bottlenecks in traders passing through until clearance of the goods. So what are they doing to help importers not to be overcharged by these brokers and custom brokers and agents? Because there's no standardized fees that you can say, okay, after checking the value of this used car that I'm importing into Ghana, after checking the value I'm going to pay as an import duty, these are the standardized price I'm going to pay if I use a custom broker. So what is there to protect us? That is why earlier on I called to find out if an individual importer can go through the procedure to be able to clear their goods by following all the necessary laid down procedure. If not, what would be the standardized procedure? So just in order for us not to be overpriced or cheated out with some extra payments in clearing our goods.
All right. Thank you very much once again, Philip. I think you'd oblige him some response.
Yes, I think in Article 6.1, we have such a provision. And
Article 6 plus 1?
6.1
of
the TFA.
Okay.
So it's more
Trade Facilitation Agreement.
Yeah, the Trade Facilitation Agreement. Yes. So it's more of the general discipline on fees and charges imposed on or in connection with importation and exportation, more fees and charges. So there is supposed to be standardized fees and charges. And I think the Ministry of Trade is working closely on that to get that. I think the man who called earlier, the GUTA, they are all in that committee.
That's the Importers and Exporters Association.
To make sure that those fees and charges are commensurate with the services that is being rendered, and it shouldn't be arbitrary. So those are things that we should be able to publish. And we are supposed to implement such under the TFA agreement. And in fact, when we do some of this study, it also involves we identifying the bottlenecks, like you mentioned. And when we identify the bottlenecks, you ask, how are we going to do the recommendations? We're supposed to put in recommendations and see how best we can reduce not just the time, but also the trading cost. So it's all involved in the TFA agreement that we have acceded to. So we are hoping for the best. We are hoping for their cooperation, and we are hoping that when we bring surveys around, they give us their candid opinions.
Absolutely.
And then we can be able to make the necessary interventions.
Right. Let's go on to the phone lines once again. I understand we have Kojo also from Dansoman. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Please flow.
Please, I want to add up to what Moses, who called earlier on, said concerning the...
Can you speak up a bit, sir?
I want to add up to what Moses said concerning the duty, if you really want to check your duty. We understand first you can go to the external...
external.unipassghana.yeah.
To know the duty you want to pay.
Yes.
But let's say I want to buy a car. I want to go to the due diligence that, this particular car, the duty has been paid.
Okay.
This particular car, the duty has been paid. So with that, is there any platform that I can check that, okay, this car, being it coming from Togo, US, or any other part of the country, you can go through and check.
Yes.
And secondly, I want to talk about, now we all know how fuel prices are rising and all that. And there are platforms, even car builders are even building small engines that will help us to, to decrease the fuel consumption. But in Ghana here, we have even smaller engines which are turborized. But when it comes to charging of duty on such cars, you mostly see that there are high duties on turbo engines which have smaller engine capacity, which will also help us to save more fuel. But in other countries, there are some affirmative actions which have been taken so that fuel consumption will be, it will help people.
We use fuel efficient vehicles,
Yes. But in Ghana here, I want to find out what affirmative action have we taken to help so that we can all go in for smaller engines or small CC that will help us to.
Right. Thank you very much, Kojo. You'd want to oblige him some response. Kojo actually happens to be our last caller. We're not going to be able to pick any phone calls again. You prefer a response, and then we would take the messages and close.
I think with that, it's already embedded in the tariff, because if the engine capacity of the car is low, you pay less
duty,
import duty. But the other taxes, maybe the import VAT and all those things are uniform. Maybe that is what he's talking about. But for the import duty, the tariff, it's based on the tax rate. The duty tax rate is based on the engine capacity.
So the higher your engine capacity, the higher the duty
higher
you pay.
the import duty. But because of the other taxes, maybe they wouldn't be able to appreciate the impact.
Absolutely.
And then depending on the age of the car. So I think that's a policy issue. And that might be have to be escalated to Parliament to do the ruling on what the direction is.
Right. Okay, I think he asked a question, and this one says, "Good evening to all of you. I just tuned in, and I want to ask if there is any website for the tracking of goods." I think this particular guy also asked the same question.
And so it's the same site, external.unipassghana.com.
Okay.
So you can always track your cargo.
Okay.
You put in your airway bill or your bill of lading.
Okay. Alok, also in Accra, says, "Good evening, Kennedy. Please ask Madam Diana, what is the process in order to suggest an input or interface into the clearance platform, ICOMS?"
I didn't get that.
It says, "Please ask Madam Diana, what is the process in order to suggest an input or interface into the clearance platform, ICOMS?"
Inputs.
Yeah, or interface.
Okay, so if anybody wants to make suggestion on improvement on the ICOMS platform, they can walk to the policy and program office at the headquarters, and they can put in their suggestion. I'm sure it will be it will be taken note of, and the improvements, if it's positive, can always be intervened.
Right. John says, "Can the customs officer tell us how one can clear his or her cargo without stress from the port? There seem to be so many delays in the chain." This one is from Lydia in Winneba. Maybe just a quick response, and then we wrap up.
So I would suggest to her that she should hire a competent house agent who can take away some of her stress. Because until when it is opened up that you can do your own clearing, you need to get a competent clearing agent who can assist you to take out some of the stress.
All right, so give and take from your response you gave me with respect to how long this study is going to take. You said 6 months.
Yes.
And so we should expect something from customs in 6 months. We should expect in blue, black and white. Within these hours, if I have my goods in the port, I'm going to be able to clear them from the port in Ghana.
Yes, so we hope that we'll be able to publish our findings in terms of what we are able to detect in the findings. So we'll publish it, and if it's 5 hours, we'll be able to, if it's 10 hours, we'll be able to publish it. And then we can consistently improve upon it and do more time release study. This is the first TRS time release study using the World Customs Organization tool. This is the first of its kind. So we hope to improve upon it even after the findings.
Right. Thank you very much. Diana Ayoko Agbenyega, Principal Revenue Officer, Customs Division, Ghana Revenue Authority. She's with the Policy and Programs Department. We're discussing a study that Customs is going to be conducting from the month of June. She says it's going to last 6 months. They want us to measure the time we spend in the clearance of cargo at the ports. We thank you so much for being our guest tonight. This is how we draw the curtain on Eye on Port tonight here on Metropolitan Television. Remember, the abridged version of the show is aired every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. We say a big shout out to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System icons at the ports, and then Meridian Port Services, MPS, also in the port of Tema. Maximum respect to our executive producers, Madam Esther Jebidonko and Madam Nana A.C. Soderberg. My name is Kennedy Mona. God willing, we shall bounce back next week with another wonderful edition of Eye on Port here on the same network. Please stay and watch the rest of the programs and have a super week ahead.